Jesus' death is intended to be an example of the ultimate sacrifice. It is framed in human terms for the purpose of human impact. But actually, he only suffered for 6 hours before death, which is small fry compared to the torture inflicted on non-believers in his name by the Inquisition. Moreover, he rose again 3 days later, so in any meaningful sense was not dead, but was merely not inhabiting his physical body. Some Christians interpret 1 Peter 3:18-20 to mean that during his death, Jesus went to Hades to proclaim the Spirit. You could argue that this means he went to hell, but if he did, it was not in the same way that us mortals are supposed to go there. He was simply a tourist. For him, it was not a place of personal eternal suffering. Rather, it was more like a visit to somewhere unpleasant, like a weekend in Detroit. And what did he do there? Did he try to save all the people who had died before God made his existence known? No, he used this once-in-eternity opportunity to gloat over the dead. What a prick. But of course, given that he had foreknowledge of his resurrection, as evidenced in Luke 18:31-33, where it says, Then he took unto him the 12, and said unto them, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and all things that are written by the prophets concerning the Son of Man shall be accomplished. For he shall be delivered unto the Gentiles, and shall be mocked, and spitefully entreated, and spitted upon. And they shall scourge him, and put him to death, and the third day he shall rise again. In no way can his experience be considered death at all. At worst, it can be considered distressing, painful, and briefly inconvenient. And honestly, in the eternal existence of an omniscient being that exists outside of time, how bad is 6 hours' pain? That's not even as long as a season of Jersey Shore or Keeping Up with the Kardashians. So if his death doesn't mean the end of consciousness, didn't mean a permanent end to his earthly existence, carried with it none of the uncertainty about what would happen to him afterwards, and didn't even mean the physical decay of his earthly body, in what possible definition of the word was he dead? All it meant was that he took a really long gap between breaths. I mean, sure, crucifixion is brutal and painful, but hundreds of thousands of humans have suffered worse fates, often at the hands of Christians. What Jesus went through wasn't the ultimate suffering, and what God, as his supposed father, went through in offering him wasn't the ultimate sacrifice. In fact, millions of us humans, supposedly his children, die every day, many in horrific circumstances, and most are destined for hell. Surely he is making a far greater sacrifice by allowing us, no worse than that, condemning us to an eternity of torment. So don't tell me that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, because it's bullshit. In the existence of an eternal being, sacrifice Jesus would have been no more noble or inconvenient than us temporarily losing one of the atoms in our body. Trivial, less than nothing, utterly and completely meaningless. And just another clear example that the Bible is nothing more than an inconsistent, badly written story, full of annoying, contradictory and pious characters, designed to manipulate the emotions of an unsophisticated audience. Just like Star Wars: The Phantom Menace.